All right, so the first part's like. All right, so there's a few different ways you can do it. I'm kind of like combining the bass line and the guitar riff together. I think it makes it sound more interesting. So the bass line I'm doing all on the D string, and then on the B string I'm doing these little slides. So the D string part's really easy. It's just 5th fret, 9, and then 7 twice. So it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2, 3, 4, 7, 2. So it's just 5, 9, and 7. Pretty easy. And then on the B string, the little slides I think are the trickiest part. So it starts with a slide going from 6 to 7, and then we land on 5. So that little phrase goes like, and then he repeats that again. And then he does a slide going from 7 to 8, and then it lands on 7. So 7 to 8, 7. And then back to the first one. Then the tricky part is combining the two of them. So the way I'm combining it, I'm playing my D string note with the pick, and then the B string note, I'm kind of plucking that with my middle finger, but you could do that with your pick too, if that's easier. So in slow motion, here's that whole thing combined. And then we go to 9. Slide from 7 to 8, back to 7. And then 7 on the D. Slide from 6 to 7, then to 5. 7 on the D, slide from 6 to 7. So when you put the whole riff together really slow, 9, then we go 7. Another way you could do that, if you wanted to, you could play the same notes on the A string and the G string. So you could go 10 on the A, and then you would do a little slide going from 10 to 11 on the G. And then it would be 14 on the A, and then your slide is going from 11 to 12 on the G. Then you land on 11. And then 12 on the A. And we do that same slide going from 10 to 11. And then we land on 9 on the G. So real slow up there. Alright, so that's the first part. Definitely tricky. I would practice that slow a lot, and then you'll get the coordination for it. But definitely a hard part. The second part is way easier. She pulls me in enough to keep me guessing. And maybe I should stop confessing. Alright, so the first part is kind of outlining a power chord. 5 on the A, and then it goes to 3 on the top string. And then the whole thing's all single notes, and then we go 5 again. So you're always just going to be hitting the 5 on the A string. So then 5 and then 7 on the top, and then 5 and 5, and then repeat the 5 and 5. The only thing with the rhythm, when you do the 3rd fret, they play that 3rd fret note a little later. Like the 7 and 5 come in like kind of quick, but then you have to sort of like pause before that 3 comes in. She pulls me in enough to keep me guessing. And maybe I should stop confessing. All right, so that whole riff again. And then for this 5th fret part, I'm using the same finger and just kind of like rocking my finger back and forth. Like normally I try to play on the fingertip, but when I'm doing something like that, I'm like more like on the flat part of my finger, and then, you know, you can just kind of just rock back and forth, and it's, you know, a little smoother than using 2 different fingers, but either way works. All right, so this part, they're doing a power chord with like an octave with it. So it's a 3-note chord. You can either use 3 fingers, and it's going to be the same shape. So once you get that chord shape, you're just going to be sliding it around all over the place. I think I was just doing 3 fingers, but you could also do like 1 finger here and then do a little bar on those 2. So I'll show you 2 different ways you can do this. The first way, we're just staying on the same strings the whole time and just moving your hand around. So we're going to start on 3 and 5, and then we're always going back to 10 and 12. That's kind of like the in-between chord. So 10 and 12, and then 7 and 9. Back to 10 and 12, and then it goes to 5 and 7. So the whole chorus part. Another way you could do that, if you don't want to jump all the way up to 10 and 12, you could do this chord on 5 and 7 on the A, D, and G string. So then it would look like... Just picture everybody naked. She really doesn't like to wait. So we're just back to that same single note part. Pulls me in enough to keep me guessing. And maybe I should stop confessing. So those are the 3 parts in the tune. The one thing that I would watch out for on the very first part, I feel like some people are going to have the instinct to do it with 1 finger, like... Which, if you do it with 1 finger, it's going to sound like kind of choppy. Yeah, like there I'm doing ring finger, middle, and index. Same thing, ring, middle, and index, and then... could do the same thing on that last one, ring, middle, and index. And then if you keep the same fingers for each pattern, it's easier to build up a muscle memory, and then you can start like flowing with the part a little bit more. Back to the power chords here. And that's the whole tune.